Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Richie Bloomfield, and I am an instructor here in the MOS program at Huron. Very happy to have you and very happy to be joined by some students who are studying economics and business at Huron. And our job here is just to share with you some of our experiences, what it's like to study these programs at Huron specifically. I myself am actually an alumni of Huron University as well, and I've been teaching here in the business department, in the MOS department, for the past 4 years, and I'm very excited to be here. I'm going to pass it off to our panelists to introduce themselves, to let you know what they're studying, what year they're in, and some of their experience, and then we'll open it up to some questions from you guys, and we'll try to provide the answers the best that we can. So feel free to please either raise your hand or post your question in the Q&A chat box that's available to you through Zoom. So I will turn it over, and I'll start with Namra. Do you want to just let everyone know a little bit about yourself?
So hi everyone, my name's Namra and I'm in third year of BMOS. I'm studying finance and administration and I'm an international student from India.
Awesome. And Elsie?
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Elsie Marie. I'm currently in my second year at Huron. I'm in the BMOS stream studying organizational studies, policy and ethics, and I'm an international student from Kenya.
Fantastic. And Sanchi?
Hi everyone, I'm Sanji Shah. I'm a second year student studying economics. I'm pursuing a degree in on a specialization in economics, and I'm an international student from New Delhi, India.
Awesome. So like I said, please don't be shy to ask some questions. We do have a couple of questions that we can start with that we very often are asked about in terms of what things look like. So I'll start off with this question and I'll turn it over to the panelists. So how do you know what kind of courses you're going to take in each semester? So how do you go about knowing even what you're going to study? And I'll let you guys maybe each chime in on that to start.
I can go ahead first. So it depends on what degree you wish to pursue. And even if you have no idea what you're doing, it's honestly completely fine because the first year, like the first 5 credits that you take are something that are like, to get an idea of what major or what specialization you want to get into. So personally speaking, I started out in computer science. So like my first focus was computer science in first year. And then I realized I had taken business courses that I enjoyed business more. So I switched into business in my second year. So like, it's not something that's set in stone. You sure like get admitted based on like which degree or program you want to get into, but it's not hard and fast. Like you can easily change from one stream into another stream.
I really like that you highlighted this ability to change right away. That's a really important thing for students to realize, is that just because you applied to a program doesn't mean that you might not change your mind. And I myself also did that when I was studying my undergrad. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about a university degree, is that you can change early on in that first and second year. So that's great. Anyone else on the panel want to share their thoughts on that question?
I just also wanted to highlight that the academic counselors on campus have been really helpful in helping us decide our courses. Like they will help you, go through the material, have a look if that's what you're really interested in. So that's a really good way. That was actually one of the main reasons that I got to choose my courses, because I had to sit down with my academic counselor. So they are very helpful.
Awesome. And yes, go ahead, Elsie.
And I'd also want him to add on. So as you move from first year on to second year, we also have so much help online available on the website in terms of which courses are specific and which are electives. So that also really helps you choose courses as you move into your upper years of education.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so between the academic counseling office, which definitely is there to support you through your program, the ability to follow a bit of a structure for what your requirements are. You're also going to be given a list of different optional courses you can take to fill in your electives. So lots to choose from, but definitely guidance provided along the way. Taylor, I think I saw a hand go up, but if there is a hand up still, if you want to let the person ask the question. If not, I can just proceed.
Yeah, I don't see one up now, but just a reminder to all attendees, feel free to use the raise hand function as well as the Q&A function if you'd like to ask a question at any time. You can carry on the word. Thanks.
Awesome. So another question we get asked a lot is about basically how you're going to get evaluated. So how do your professors evaluate your work? So I don't want to be biased here. I'll let you guys answer this question first. So, Elsie, if you want to start us off, maybe, in general, how are you going to, be graded? What kind of work are you going to be doing in your courses, generally speaking?
Okay, so most of the time it depends on the course you actually do. Some of them you're evaluated like by getting research papers which you're graded on, and like courses for business maybe it's more of all-rounded. Like let's say you have exams, reports, group assignments, and you also have a participation mark which also counts at the end of the semester. But with other courses, it's mostly an exam structure and reports and midterms. So you'd have roughly 2 midterms in the semester and then a final at the end of the semester.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely a mix of exam style, report style, and then many classes you will have some incorporation of how you engage in the class, the live classes. So that's a discussion base usually, and it allows for a bit more dialogue between obviously the professor and the students, but also just the students together. So that is an important part of many of our courses, and it's one that really I personally believe in a lot. I think it helps you down the line as you progress through university and into the workplace. You're going to have to be comfortable sharing your ideas, having discussions in group settings with other people, making presentations. And sometimes that is something that is pretty nerve-wracking. I know it was for me and sometimes still is. So the more practice that we can get in these courses is just going to be beneficial in the long run. So I've got a question in the chat about careers. So the question is what career graduates take once you graduate. So, what are you guys planning to do once you guys finish your programs? And Namra, I'm going to start with you.
Honestly speaking, like you could literally choose a career in any industry you like. So like starting off in your first few years, what happens is when you connect with your career development counselors, you tell them that you're sort of interested in this industry, say finance or banking. And then throughout your school careers, first 4 years, they try to get you an internship because Huron does guarantee paid internship for like all students that are coming in. So you try to get internships from the get-go, and like you sort of get an idea of which company or which stream or which industry you're more interested in. So after that, what goes on is like once you sort of have a clear idea based on the internships that you've done as a student, it gets pretty easy for you to get a job after you graduate, especially if you're an international student. Once you have those sort of networks and connections, you can get into a job and then apply for your postgraduate work permit, and everything goes on from there.
Awesome. Sanchi, do you want to chime in on this as well?
Thank you for the question. So I, with Huron personally, since first year, there are numerous opportunities available on campus and off campus that you could take part in, and that will really help your build your resume. I also recently have been employed as a research assistant with the university, and I am also applying for summer jobs. So the Career Development Center is an absolute godsend place, because they will help you through every process, with mock interviews, with cover letters, with grad school if you're interested in it. So really, the Career Development Center will really help you with your career, definitely.
Anything you'd like to add, Elsie?
Okay, personally for me at Huron, I have been able to find jobs as a research assistant also like Sanchi, and I've also helped at the Huron chapel. So I believe that also on the career development service is really helpful in terms of finding jobs and internships throughout the whole academic year. And as long as you reach out to them, so they'll help you with every step of the way, and you not really have to worry about being lost. So you'll always have guidance if you need it.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely a ton of support. And one of the benefits at Huron is, the size of the university allows for these support systems to be robust and very, very effective with supporting the student body in their, not only just their academics, but also in their career goals. There's another question we have around kind of the economics courses specifically. So whether you're studying Moss, many of you will still also take economics at least in your first year and probably beyond. And then of course, if you're studying economics, taking lots of economics courses. And so the question really is, can you elaborate a bit on the things that you're taught in those courses? So maybe let's focus on just the first year courses. What are the topics that you learn in economics? I'll open it up and let the panelists decide who wants to speak to this.
I think I'll take that question. So with economics in first year, if you are coming from a CBSE school or if you have taken economics before in your 12th grade, it'll be somewhat similar, I believe. Basically, we were taught the basic concepts of demand and supply, and graphs based on those situations, excess demand, excess supply, things like that. Super basic. They start you off wonderfully. I'd say like it's a very important foundation that you build in first year with economics. So the first semester I took microeconomics, second semester macroeconomics, again with macroeconomics, the most basic concepts about national savings and stuff like that. So yeah, that's all that you're taught in first year. Second year onwards, you shift into more technical stuff, and you have a deep dive in both macro and microeconomics.
Awesome. I think that's a pretty robust answer. So that's great. Thank you, Sanchi, for that. There's a question, this is a worthwhile question, I think, that, just asking about London. How's London as a city? The student asking the question and saying that, there's some maybe tension in asking their parents that why do they want to go to London, Canada? And so what's it like in London?
I guess I'll take that question. So for me, London is like a city, like I am from Mumbai. So like for me, London is pretty on the quiet side. But then again, like there's so much to do around here in London. Like we've got like malls, we've got like parks, we've got like activities happening all around. And like when you have that sort of community that Huron provides you, like everything just becomes so fun because like we have events that where you'd like go ice skating sometimes, like you just go to like a trip to Niagara Falls or whatever, like whatever you do like with that sort of friend group, it just becomes fun. And like London as a city is a fun city. Like you go to downtown, there's like so much places to eat, like the restaurants are like so amazing, like you could literally have food at a different restaurant each day and like still not finish all the restaurants out here. So it's just like an amazing aspect.
That's great. Anything else you guys wanted to add, Elsie or Sanchi?
I mean, personally, London's home. And I feel like the minute I came here back in 2019, I've never felt out of place. With the Euron community making you feel like a part of their community. And it's just been wonderful. I mean, just the other day, me and Namra were sledding down UC Hill. So it's just like that, I found the family that I've wanted far from home. And I think that's what's special about London, that every time you come here, you never feel out of place.
And I'd also want him to add on, like, for Huron, see, there's so much to actually do also with the affiliates and Western, since like you can also be like members of clubs at Huron and Western, so you have like a community aspect being built, which is also really nice and helps you adapt to the life in London too.
Fantastic to hear all that. That's awesome. Okay, lots of questions are coming in, so this is great. So we'll try to keep it moving here. There's a question about on the accounting side of things. So just, do you have the option to study accounting? Are you going to learn that, and when is that an option? So I'll turn that to the panel as well.
I think I can take that. So I had my first encounter with accounting as such in the Harvard business course that I took last summer. It was the most basic accounting that I was taught in that course. Euron actually has a partnership with Harvard Business School where they provide you the core program, the Credential for Readiness program over the summer. And because of COVID, we actually got a discount on our fee for the program. So it's a 3-month course where they teach you 3 basic pillars like financial accounting, business analytics, and economics for managers. So that's where I've actually first encountered accounting. And then I took 2257 with Richie here, and it's been wonderful. The first semester that we take 2257, it's mostly accounting based, and yeah, so that's how I guess you'll encounter accounting at Huron.
If I may add on to that, so like in first year, it's pretty general. So like if you are planning to get into business, so your first year business course is like more of a spread out. It's not like heavily focused on accounting or finance or one of the aspects. And then as you move on, you decide to choose your stream. So Huron offers you finance as one of the streams, accounting as the other, and policy and ethics, my bad. So from second year onwards, you start specializing in, and you not only take like business courses that are on like based on accounting, there are like many more things that come with it. So like that is all detailed and outlined on the website. So I have taken finance, so I can't really speak much on accounting, but there is like a plethora of courses that come along with it.
Awesome. And I'm actually going to jump back there a little bit. So a couple of things. Definitely general introductory courses in your first year, as you would expect. And then as Sanchi mentioned, you're going to probably be taking Business 2257, which is a fairly well-known course. And it is one of the courses that I teach myself. And it is a managerial accounting course. So we do spend a lot of time in the first semester going over, I'll say, the mechanics of accounting and how that actually happens behind the scenes. And then in the second part of the course, we start extrapolating the managerial accounting into things like a business plan and looking at a higher level managerial position, making decisions. So lots of opportunity there. And the second thing is, Sanchi actually spoke to this. There's a question about that Harvard core program. So I'm very glad that you spoke to that. And if you wanted to maybe just add anything on specifically to that Harvard core program, whether you liked it and anything about the process, that this would be a great time to do that.
Definitely. Thank you so much. So the Harvard Core program, it was kind of unexpected. I mean, with everything that changed last year, I was not sure what I was planning to do this summer because I was back in India. But yeah, the course was absolutely amazing. The platform that they're teaching the course on, everything's online. So every lecture is recorded. But it was so interactive, like in between recordings, they would ask you questions, there would be polls, there's a whole community that you're a part of. Best part, I think, out of the whole thing is that you get added to the Harvard Business Network. So I personally am a part of a whole LinkedIn group as well as a Facebook group with all the members that I attended it with. And the program is just not, restricted to students. So you will meet people from all different backgrounds who have come to attend a basic accounting course. And it's an absolutely wonderful opportunity to network. And yeah, I've definitely made some very, very good friends through the program over the pandemic.
Awesome, thank you. Taylor, go ahead and we can take a question from the audience, unmuted.
I've just asked them to unmute. If you'd like to ask your question, feel free to do so now. Okay, Richie, perhaps we can jump back to the Q&A now.
No problem. We do have a bunch of questions still coming in there, so happy to do that. There's a question about the business course. So I'm going to kind of think about that as well in your first year. So the Business 1220 course, it's another course that I also teach personally. And, so the question is really just, what's that course like? And so I'll maybe turn it over to you guys first, and then if I have anything to add, I'll add on after.
I can take that one. So for me, business course was like actually a fun course because like I have always been like in sciences and I've never like taken business course. So like when I came to university, I had already set my mind to like going into computer science and like just doing that. But when I took the business course, it was something that like taught me more because we have like a case-based study method where we're like given a case and you read out about a company and like you're sort of in the position of power to like make sure like the company doesn't go bankrupt or whatever, and like you're trying to come up with ways so that the company like sustains and like you overcome their problems. So like it was more like an experience where you're learning from a case-based study and not just like theories from like a textbook and you're just like, okay, like when this happens you have to do this. It's nothing of that sort, which is why it felt like more interactive and more real, like it was something that I could use in like my actual life after I graduate. Like it wasn't something that I was just studying from a textbook and then like going on and forgetting about it later on.
Yeah, I think the design of the course is meant to the best of our ability, make it feel like you are truly a business owner or manager, and you're trying to put yourself in that position, whatever it might be, and make those decisions. And that means that yes, you might be applying some business theories that we're learning in the class, but it also means that you're going to be working with imperfect information, which can be a lot of fun, can be a challenge. And it definitely is meant to mimic what we end up facing in real life when we go into, whatever career. It doesn't matter what industry. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, we're never going to have situations where the entire textbook is just given to you in your job, and then you have all the perfect information. It's just not the way it works. So that's really what the case study method is all about. There's a few questions. I'll try to merge some here about kind of the balance between academics and social life and what opportunities there are. So, how is the work-life balance at Huron? Can you have both social opportunities and good work opportunities? How many hours do you end up studying on average? Is it hard to manage those extracurriculars with your academics? So I'll throw those questions out to you guys, and happy to hear what you have to say.
I guess I'll go ahead on that as well. So starting off, like I started working throughout my first year. Like I had like a job on campus in my first year. So I was working part-time, which is like 20 hours a week, as well as keeping up with my studies. I personally didn't find it difficult because like when we're studying in class, like it was just easy to go back and like maybe put in like a couple of hours in and like just getting through the material that was taught in the day. And then like for social life, like there's just like so much time, like you can literally like just hang out. Like for me, like I was also a residence dorm in my second year, so I was like living on campus, and like we would have events monthly, like we would have like a pizza party, or maybe we would just like hang out. We would have events where we're like going and cooking stuff in the apps house, which is like right outside, and it's for the international students. So like there is plenty of time to like get to know each other and like build a strong community where you can just like relax, because like when you're living in residence, like you're surrounded by people who are like maybe taking similar courses as you. So like even when you're like having a social time with them where you're just sitting and hanging out, you can always like get some studying done or something, which also like helps build your relation as well as like get like some sort of work done.
And to also add on to what Namra said, since now you're in universities, you have more control of your time. So if you prefer having your lessons in the morning or at night, it's up to you at this point. And how it helps is that now if you prefer your lessons in the morning, so you'd be free in the afternoon and night home to work and socialize and take part in club events and see friends and all that. So I would say university is much easier than high school in terms of time management, since it's you who is in control of your time in the end.
Fantastic. There was another question that, more specifically asked just, what, since there isn't a lot of things necessarily, right next to campus, you're going to spend a lot of time on campus naturally, especially if you're living there. So, how is that specifically as international students? And, what's your experience been with that?
For me, like, there are quite a lot of things around campus. Like, it's not like isolated in any way where you're like half an hour or an hour away from whatever. Like, literally, like, you could literally walk down from campus and like the mall is right there. You could literally walk down on the other side and you'll find downtown London. So like our campus at Huron is pretty well located within the city, where you could like go to wherever, like, and you have the student bus pass, which is like your identification card that you get as a first year student. So even if you want to go, say, like some place which is like a bus ride away, all you have to do is just like tap your card and you go in, and it's like a 15-minute bus ride. And like London is pretty well connected. So like when we had long weekends, what I would personally do is I would just like take a bus or like take do a student what do you call it, just sort of like a drive where you would just go to Toronto, which was like 1.5 hour away. Like you would spend the weekend there, get back. So like as an international student, you wouldn't feel left out in any way. Like the residence life itself is like pretty amazing. Like the experience you get being like away from home, sort of independent, and like Huron builds you up for that. Like you are like every step of the way, there is someone who's going to support you. At Huron, like you are always remembered, your name is remembered. You're not just like one person in like 100 or 200-person class. Like it's not the way that Huron works.
Also, the London community is very inclusive, I'd say. You'd find all kinds of things here. Like, even if you're missing home one day, you'd definitely find some kind of things that would give you happiness that way. And, like, personally, for me, there are just wonderful Indian restaurants downtown that I can go to anytime I want. That way, London's beautifully connected. And the bus system, as Namra mentioned, is just wonderful. Like, you could just go anywhere. I use the bus system to go to work every day. So it's pretty good.
Awesome, thank you. There's another question we have about kind of Huron versus the King's or Brescia or Western's campus. For you guys, what drew you towards Huron specifically, and rather than maybe some of those other options that are obviously very close by?
I was instantly drawn to Huron because of the class size and the amount of attention that you actually get within the university. Because most Canadian universities, as you see, will hold 100, 200 classes. They have a huge incoming class. But with Huron, you get that personal touch because not any of my classes have been more than 60 people. So you will always have that connection with your professor, with the people in your class. It'll just never be like a passing phase. It's just not like something where you just go to and you don't have a personal connection with anybody. So that was one of the important things. Secondly, Huron offers wonderful scholarships. I definitely needed financial aid in my first year, and I was able to apply to scholarships and secure one. And it's just been really wonderful how helpful and how open the community is. So I think that's what drew me to Huron.
And to add on to what Sanchi said, additionally for me, what drew me to Huron is that they also help you so much when you're applying to the school in terms of information. There's always someone who you could reach out to and they get back as soon as they can. So that really helped you know more about the school and to also plan like, oh, when to attend campus, what you need. So they have like a step by step method which actually helps you like for Welcome Week and in International Week also in terms of like booking flights and picking you up at the airport. So I found that really helpful. Yes.
If I may add on to that, like as an international student, it can be intimidating because we don't have like tours or whatever where you get to see the campus, like know what is going on and stuff like that. But like the way Huron like helped me from the get-go, like it wasn't just like when I reached there and started taking courses, it was from the application process, as Alshri mentioned. Like other universities that I would apply to, like it would take days for them to get back and they wouldn't even answer the question. And God, Lord knows where my email went. Like it was just a mess. And then with Huron, like it was just so personalized. Like from the get go, they show that they care. Like their culture of care is not just a tagline that just goes around. Like that clearly happens. Like when you get from the airport itself, they pick you up, they bring you, and like for internationals, they've designed an international welcome week, which happens before O week. So you get to like have a sort of connection within the campus, get to know more about it, and like sort of ease into it as like more students are coming in during O week. So like it really helps like lessen the impact of like a cultural shock or like not knowing anyone. And then there are student leaders where like they help you from the get-go. You have softs, you have dons, you have SEOs. So like that like entire experience and like just being a part of a community that like actually cares. Like so like if I walk down the hallways, like the info desk person is going to know me, the administration is going to know me. Like it's just like everyone knows you. So whenever you need help, you can just reach out. There's no one who's gonna be just like, oh, I don't really care. Like you can just do whatever you want. Like I have no input or say whatsoever. Like whenever you reach out, like help is always given.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Um, there's a couple of questions here about the Ivy program, and I can address those. As someone, I said I'm an alumni of Huron. I'm also an alumni of the Ivy Business School. And so I understand people that are, interested in the study of business might be contemplating that option as well. So a couple of quick ones about, if you haven't applied to Ivy now, can you do it later? Yes, you can do that after your second year. So you could study for 2 years at Huron. And there's actually lots of opportunity for you to finish your Huron degree while you're also going to Ivy. And that's what's called a dual degree program. And it's actually something that I did. So I really loved Huron. I really loved what I was studying. I decided that I was interested in Ivy, applied, and didn't want to give up what I had started at Huron. And so luckily for me and for many now, there's this option to take 1 extra year. So you finish in 5 years and you end up with 2 degrees. So you get your HBA from Ivy and you also get your BA or in your honors bachelor from Huron as well in whatever you're studying. Another question around, kind of how competitive it is. Certainly, it is a competitive application process. There's no question about it. But Huron is a great place to be if that's something that you're thinking about. And you may have heard this perhaps, but we have a higher success rate, we'll say, or percentage of students than any other campus at Western and the affiliates that end up successfully getting into Ivy. And I think that really is a testament to a lot of the things you've heard today, the support, the smaller class sizes that you have, and the community that you have, just friends that you have at this kind of institution. So yeah, great. Checking our questions here. And I guess I'll just I'll say one more thing about that, that the Ivy Business Program is mostly known about the HBA program, which is an undergrad, but there are other programs as well. So I have plenty of students who have studied and completed their full 4 years at Huron, loved their program, loved their study, and then went into the workplace and then maybe came back and did a master's in business. And that's something you can do at Ivy as well. So there's lots of different opportunities, different avenues you can take to go that route. Someone joined late and was just curious, again, why Huron and not other universities in Canada more broadly? I know we did just address that question. Maybe just very briefly, if you just want to quickly hit on the high notes, why Huron's the best fit for you guys, and then we'll move on.
All right, so I'll just say it again. And as Namra and Elsie said before as well, the amazing community was just like one of the top reasons that I came here. The personal attention that you receive, everybody you know on campus will be there to help you. I remember the minute I landed, I met the international student coordinator, Valita. So if you're applying, you'll definitely hear about her. And she was like, the minute she hugged me, I was like, oh, I'm home. Honestly, that was my reaction. And I'm quite happy that that's the thing that happened. Even from the start, even with the international recruiters, it was always, easy to talk to them, to know about the university. There was never any miscommunication or they ignored you or anything like that. So there's always a place for you, everyone at Huron. That's the best part. Like their motto for leaders with heart is really something that the university believes in, and you can see that through their actions.
Awesome. Thank you so much. There's another question here about when the Harvard Core program can be taken, and I'll just quickly address that as something that you can work with your academic advisor on how to fit it best in your progression. So there's requirements that you have to be performing well in your courses, but students take it all the way through their 4 years. So it really just depends what's the best fit for you. And like I said, the academic counselors are happy to work with you on that. I have a couple of questions about entrepreneurship opportunities. Is there, clubs, or is there things you learn in courses related to starting up your own business? And then I guess maybe we can think about some of the extracurricular opportunities in general. So I'll throw that question to the panel. What kind of entrepreneurship things do you learn in your program, and what kind of club opportunities have you guys experienced?
I can take that one on. So right now, the business course that I'm taking, which is Business 2257, I recently had to do a feasibility study, which I just finished up yesterday. So what we did was we have a group and we come up with a business plan, like a business idea that we really want to see happen. And what we do is we have like a financial analysis, we do an external analysis, like we sort of like build up and see if the business is going to be feasible or not. We have like a 50-page report that we end up writing on it with like exhibits and everything included. And we deem if our business is going to end up being feasible and profitable, or is it just going to go down the drain? And once we have that sort of an idea of what sort of business we want to do, we present it and like we sort of like back it up, have question and answer session after presentation. And essentially what that does is like it gives you an idea of how you should like approach a startup if you really want to do one, and like what sort of like under things that go into it and stuff like that. And once like what happens is like in the course itself there's a competition. So like as you present, like everyone in the class presents, and like if you're voted as the top presentation, you eventually enter into the competition where it's not just a Huron competition, it's like a campus-wide competition. So everyone who's been taking this course, like everyone who's the top member of their like class, like the groups that are the first positions, they all come together and then they pitch their businesses, and there's like an entire panel of judges, and like you really get to like see how other students are like pitching their business, how they prove to the judges like how their business is going to be feasible or not. So like it is a really hands-on experience where you sort of like not only just come up with an idea and like, oh my god, yeah, this is going to be easy, whatever. You have to show your backing, you have to like show how you are going to make it feasible or not. Like you really learn this throughout like your first year and like the first semester. So it really like helps you understand like whatever you've been learning so far is actually like going to be implemented in real life and how you're going to use it.
Another wonderful opportunity here is that there is a club for everything, either probably at Western or Huron. So you'll find a club for almost anything. I personally know at least 5 entrepreneurship clubs because I was interested myself on campus, and I joined them. And they have regular networking events and info sessions that really help you know what exactly goes behind a business idea. So that is definitely something that has helped me learn a lot about entrepreneurship as well.
Awesome, thank you. There's a question here that I think is a good one about, when you're in high school, you don't really, it's a mystery what university is really like, right? Like you don't know until you get there. So the question is kind of, how do you arrange your day, right? Specifically, like what does an average course schedule, leisure time day look like at university? And I know it varies, but maybe just give an example of what a day could look like. Because I definitely know that that feeling can be, totally foreign at this stage in high school.
Okay, so I can take it. So you basically have a day from 8:30 until 9:30 in the evening. So you choose your selection your courses accordingly. So like for me, I prefer having lessons and breaks until 9:30. So that allows me to take part like in club events and meet friends and just like have a break attend. Like let's say, at lunchtime, you decide you and all your friends, you go and have lunch or go to the mall. So it just helps you also relax and not get so overwhelmed with schoolwork and all that. So I would say it's better if you schedule your time in a way where you also have breaks, because also as you know, too much of something is not good. So you need a balance of both school and clubs and just enjoyment. Yeah.
I can add on to that. So what my approach was, every time like I started my course schedule, I was like, I want Friday off. Like I am doing a 3-day weekend for every semester that I get. So like my courses are concentrated on Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and that's it. And then I give myself 3-day weekends, and I just enjoy that every time. So like even though 4 days, like if I would do that, like I would have, let's say, like two subjects each day. Like I wouldn't have more than that. And like my classes would either be a 2-hour class or a 1-hour class. So like I would be putting in like maybe 4 hours of study at max on a day, like in class itself. And then like self-study is something later on that I would do. So my reasoning behind was to give myself enough time, because I was also working part-time. So I would like do courses on Monday to Thursday. Then I would like sort of work part-time on Fridays and Saturdays, and just give myself Sundays as like the day off where I would just like relax or like make plans with friends and all. So like that was something that is really feasible. And like I absolutely hate 8:30 morning class. Like that is not for me. Like I cannot do that. So I would just pick the later day, like wake up like late, go into the afternoon like easily, and like just like be more attentive, because like the way you can pick your schedule really helps, because like if it depends on what sort of like times work best for you, and then you go on and choose the way that your timetable would look like.
So basically, just to conclude, I would say that you have way more autonomy over what you want to study and who you want to study from in university than in high school. So you decide what you want. You decide your professors, you decide your courses, you decide what time you want to study, what time you don't want to study. So I think personally, I love having autonomy over what I study. So that's one of the best things I'd say about university. And yeah, just take a leap, come to university. It's amazing.
I love the enthusiasm. This is great. Um, okay, so a couple questions that came up after the things I mentioned about the Ivy program. I just want to clarify that for those who know about the AEO, or Advanced Entry Opportunity, this is something that some people will apply to out of high school, but you can still apply even if you do not have advanced entry. And that's what I was mentioning before about after your second year, you can apply then based on your extracurricular activities during university as well as your academic performance. And that was actually my experience. I personally was not a student with AEO, but I applied after I did a couple of years of university. And on the dual degree program, when you're doing the extra year with Huron and Ivy, your tuition is split between the two. So you're basically paying half of the tuition at both. So you're not you're not overpaying or anything like that. It's just you're paying over a longer period of time. It's just split up over the extra 2 years instead of doing it all in 1 year. There's a question. I think this is a good one too. What advice would you give first year students at Huron? What would be your, if you had to pick one thing that you wish you maybe knew in first year, or maybe someone gave you this advice, what would that advice be?
For me personally, I was pretty hesitant. Like first year, like I was here, like I wouldn't really like talk much, or like I would just be like, okay, like if something's happening, it will just go away. Like I wouldn't address the issue. So for me, like my advice would be like just ask for help. Even if it's not help, like just engage in that dialogue, because like no matter what is happening like or going on with you, like they're always ready to help. It's not like they don't care about you. Like that care for, like the aspect of caring is always there. So like just don't like be like, okay, if something's bothering me, it'll automatically go away, or like I don't need to address this, everything was going to be fine. Like no, just address it like head on. Like go talk to people, go like and like I've heard this question about like people being like nervous, like, oh, will I make friends? Will I not make friends? Like I'm an international, I'm leaving everything behind. Like honestly speaking, the person who's sitting next to you in class is as nervous as you are. So even if you just say hello, like have that courage to like initiate a conversation, and things flow smoothly from there. Like you do not need to like keep yourself in an enclosed bubble where you think like you will shoulder all responsibilities and you have to like make sure you go through 4 years all alone as an international. Like we don't do that here. Like just be vocal with whatever you want to like get done.
I could also add on some advice I would give is that you should also put yourself out there more. There's so many opportunities at Huron in terms of clubs, being involved, internships. Don't hold back. Like don't. I know at times it's hard, like let's say coming as an international student and adjusting to your new life and environment, being away from home. But being involved will make you at least adapt much faster and sort of forget about feeling homesick at times. And it really helps since you meet people from all over the world and make friends. So that also makes your university experience much more enjoyable.
Awesome. There's a question too, as we're coming near the end of our time, but there's a couple more questions I want to ask from the audience. And one is about work while studying. So, if you try to work for, make some money on the side part-time, the question was, where do you work and what challenges and benefits do this propose? So, I mean, I think I would think about this more generally and say, how many hours maybe can you work, and how hard is it to be off campus working, or are there on campus opportunities to work? That'd be the question I would pose to the panel.
So I can take that. I actually secured a job in the first week that I came to Canada. And so as your study permit will mention, you can work 20 hours a week as an international student during the school year, and 40 hours when it's like when the school's not going on, probably over the summer. I had a few jobs in customer service. I currently am working at a restaurant downtown as well. So I feel like it really helps you, know the community first of all. So it's just my first job was off campus, so I really had a chance to interact with the community without the college being a factor in it, and obviously helps build your resume, gives you amazing opportunity to gain experience in the customer service field. Personally, for me, and then on campus opportunities are amazing as well. There's so many opportunities available every year. Every month there's something new happening that you can get to be a part of. I've recently got a job as a research assistant, so it definitely pays well, and I get to do what I like doing, research with my professors, have that relationship with them, as well as contribute to something in my university life. So yeah, that's definitely a very interesting factor.
Great. Are there any clubs in particular that you guys think are exciting to you, that you know about at Huron, you either been involved with, or maybe you've had friends that have been involved with them, just to give an idea of what types of clubs specifically that exist at Huron and are opportunities to join.
I think I speak for me and Elsie and Namra here when I say that HICA, the Huron Indian Cultural Association, was one of the best clubs that we were ever a part of. I might be a bit biased, and Elsie might be a bit biased because both of us are VPs at the club right now. But it was just the most amazing opportunity. We hosted events, dance parties, movie nights, food nights, everything that we wanted to do. That's the best part about the club system that I like, that there is so much autonomy. There's so much the sky's the limit. Like, you can do whatever you want in the events and have fun with it. I also am a part of the Huron Economics Club, and I'm part of the Women in Leadership Club at main campus. So these clubs are, they help you have lifelong friends, because at HICA, at the Huron Economic Society, you're always interacting, you're coming up with ideas, you're attending events together. So the club system is really wonderful. And yeah, I mean, I made all my friends through club systems. So
Awesome. I'll do two more questions, then we'll wrap it up. So there's a question we did address a little bit earlier on, but I know some people joined later. So the question is around internship opportunities. With they know that that's offered to any program at Huron, and so the question is more specifically about studying in the business program. How did what kind of opportunities are there for internships, and how did it help you personally?
I can take that one. So for me, like I'm currently interning as a student student intern in the international recruitment department at Huron itself. So that is not something that's business related, but I found something that I enjoyed a lot doing. So I've been doing that. But like, what Huron does is it does guarantee you paid internships as a student in any sort of like major or minor or whatever you're doing. So like, if you're interested in business, what you get to do is you sit down with your career development officer and you like tell them that I am interested in this industry, I'm interested in business, I'm interested in banking, I'm interested in finance. And then they sort of like map out like what your career path will look like. They help you like get internships, they will connect with you like job opportunities that are coming long way. So if you are a Huron student, there are some jobs that are specifically for Huron students only. So like, that really helps you like set apart, because in the market, like when you're applying like online, thousands of people apply, but when you're at Huron, like some jobs are just only reserved for Huron students. So only Huron students will get those sort of opportunities, which is like an amazing aspect, because like not a lot of jobs are going to be like, oh, we just want sort of this sort of students, but like Huron students get the like advantage over like the others and just being there.
Thank you. And this question, I think another is a good one, because it doesn't matter who you are. Really, any first-year student coming to university, it can feel pretty overwhelming, and it's totally new, and that can just be exasperated or made even more complicated if you're coming from really far away. Maybe it's new culture, all kinds of these things. So the question was phrased as, did you feel like you fit in on your first day? And I would just say, even if you maybe felt uncomfortable or nervous, how did that then proceed after that? And what was that experience like? And how was it in terms of, feeling welcome and, being at Huron when you first arrived at the school?
I'll be happy to answer that. So I had a long flight, like it went on for 2 days, and when I reached Canada, so I was pretty tired as well as nervous. It was a weird mix of emotions that I was feeling when I landed at the airport. And I remember seeing one of the red Huron flags, and I just immediately, I mean, I know it feels very fake to say that, but I just immediately felt really, calm within myself. I'm like, okay, I'm here. There are people here to help me. And the minute I landed, the international career coordinator, as I mentioned before, Valida, she gave me a hug. And I was like, wow, what is this feeling? I have never felt more in place at somewhere where I've never been. So that I think is the best way to personally describe how well you will fit in here, because there's a place for everybody. If you look at from the club system, there's a club for everything. If you look at friends wise, you would find people from every background, every from your courses, not from your courses. So there'll be just a lot of exposure and a lot of I think openness within the community that you get to see. So you will fit right in. I know it's a scary and a daunting experience. I was myself so scared. I had no idea, when I decided, how I decided that I would come so far from home. But definitely this place was instantly, had a calming effect on me. And I hope that it does for you too. I'm sure it will.
And to also add on, we also have an international week. So when you first come, like it's mostly just international students. So it sort of helps you adapt since you're all going through the same emotions and stress, feeling homesickness. So that is also like a bonding point. I'd say for me it was. And also in that week, like I made most of my friends who I'm still friends with them right now. So that week I would say is really important as it helps you adapt and just customize like to your life now in Canada.
Thank you so much. So I really hope that we've been able to answer many of your questions, and thank you so much for asking those questions. They were really great questions, and we really hope to see you guys at Huron. Hopefully you've heard now firsthand just how much of a supportive community we have here at Huron, and I really think that is a special component of this university. So whether it's the academic support, the career support, the student community, right from the start, it's a great place to be. If you had further questions, I will post some emails in the chat that you could reach out to, and so feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to answer more questions. And like I said, thanks for coming so much. Thank you to the panelists for answering all those questions. Really appreciate your time today, and we will hopefully see you all soon.